Look out for Charlie.
People fell for the RFK op. They thought that he was going to come in and clean the place up, right? Get rid of GMOs, get the garbage out of our foods, and even stop chemtrails. They even pulled a good bit of theater by having RFK say that chemtrails were coming from DARPA on the Dr. Phil show. Let's check it out.
My biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day. Bromium, aluminum, strontium, it's sprayed in our skies all day long. And I know you've talked to Dane Wiggins.
Does she sound sincere when she's saying that? It's sprayed in our skies all day long, and she points up.
About this. He seems to be one of the experts in the field.
Is there a question?
Yes. How do we stop it?
That is not happening in my agency. You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA, and a lot of it now is coming out of the jet fuel.
Yes,
so,
sir.
you know, those materials are put in jet fuel. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. We're bringing on somebody who's going to think only about that, find out who's doing it, and holding them accountable.
He's right as far as things being put in jet fuel, because actually there's a fungus, and I've done videos on this in the past, that has taken off exponentially in the past 20-25 years that grows in kerosene, or fungus that grows in kerosene, which is jet fuel, basically. Now, we don't know if this was a planted question or not, but considering that it was on Dr. Phil, I would guess yes. You have to remember that Dr. Phil even did a crazy-ass hit piece that attacked information that I was putting out years ago. I'm not even joking. It was an insane, direct attack on information that I was putting out at the time when I was getting lots of views on my videos. And other people were not talking about this. So the Dr. Phil crew put this wacky-ass fever dream script together about a woman who is seeing aliens and other crazy shit. And then they weaved my information in within it to make the entire thing look insane. And they really did this. Let's take a look at that. Okay, I hope you're ready for this because it is wacky. You know, I have this thing where I can watch or listen or read stories, right, from people, and I can immediately tell whether they are telling the truth or not because I have studied so many of these cases. And this is so far out there that it is obviously and totally a script.
About 3 years ago, I started seeing lights in the sky. And then I started seeing alien beings. One time they were having a bonfire. They would sit on people's porches. They even had like this thing that they jetted around in, like a backpack.
A backpack.
Little kid aliens. I started seeing scratches on my side table and the walls cracking and stuff.
Okay, now that's where they weave it in because people do hear the walls cracking. But somehow she was able to weave that in with aliens. It's just absurd.
They were trying to make me believe that there was these two little alien kids running around my house tearing stuff up.
This is absolute fever dream bullshit created by the fantasy writers of Dr. Phil.
I would see dozens of alien creatures having a party, having fun, doing their own thing. At first I thought it was real. I was just floored.
And this is where they weave in my information.
I knew I was being electronically harassed to see aliens.
Here we go. This is absolutely insane. Like I said, I can read stories and tell right away whether they're real or not. This is totally and completely fictional. But it's a hit piece. It's designed to be that way. It operates the same way that Vice News does.
It moved to the electronic shocking sensations.
Here we go.
I was doing dishes one day and I felt this huge electrical shock on my left side. It brought me to my knees and it hurt really bad. So of course, got on my phone and started searching.
Okay, so if somebody was saying that, it would totally make sense. And you'd be like, okay, they're getting shocked. But before that, it was all aliens and bullshit. This is what they do.
Searching alien, electrical shock. They could shock you. They torture you. I realized that it's not going to go away. I have smart skin from
Here we go.
the targeting.
It's not smart skin. It's a combination of Shigella, bacterial and fungal, right? And it basically makes people sensitive to radio frequency, ELF, electrical fields, etc.
The fungus on your skin makes your body act like a battery.
That is my information. Completely and totally my information. And it's being repeated on the Dr. Phil show.
The fungus on your skin makes your body act like a battery. You feel charged up, like they're charging you up.
That's total bullshit. You don't feel charged up. It's absolute bullshit. They are weaving fantasy and reality together to make the entire thing look absurd. I talk about this a lot. And here it is in action.
I started doing the cleansing routine. I spent
the cleansing routine. Wonder where that came from.
2 hours in the bathtub soaking and scrubbing this stuff off of me every day. They build my body up with electricity.
They show her using shielding equipment, but no one can get away from it with this quote-unquote shielding equipment because it's ELF based. It's ridiculous.
I actually feel it, especially in my home. I just tried to cover any kind of hole coming into my home.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Foil over it to try and protect myself. I cover the outlets. I used to cover the lamps. I used to put a blanket over these doors for protection.
A blanket. A blanket. So my point is, this part of it was my information. It's legitimate information, right? And then they mix it with all this insanity. And then they sell it to the public. So now, if I talk to people about that, oh, your skin and whatever, someone would be like, oh yeah, I saw somebody on the Dr. Phil show who was talking about the same thing and they were seeing aliens. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking madness, and this is what they do. So the point is, Dr. Phil cannot be trusted. And that chemtrails / aerosol question was intended to plant hope in people's minds, making them believe that RFK was going to really change things and rock the proverbial boat, right? But in true bamboozle fashion, RFK is now pushing, wanting everyone to wear wearable devices that track your bioinformation and every move you make. In just a month or so, it went from RFK blaming chemtrails on DARPA to wanting everyone tagged and tracked within 4 years. That is the real goal of Make America Healthy Again or whatever. Don't be a fool. So, let's check out what RFK said here.
Their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again, and we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
But where have we heard wearable devices before? Oh yeah, I've been talking about them on this channel for over a decade. The purpose of getting everyone to wear some cumbersome, ridiculously outdated bracelet or wearable is to make people happy. When the government announces that you no longer have to wear this and you can put it in your body. I made a video about what wearable devices really are a few years ago. It was a response video attempting to clear the air and debunk a bunch of myths. But you're going to see that every single thing that I have talked about on this channel is reality and not quote-unquote conspiratorial in any way whatsoever. Coincidentally, this video touches on exactly what the Dr. Phil show was attempting to attack back when they put out the alien scene electronic harassment victim episode, right? So let's play the video that I did on wearable devices again. What exactly is a wearable device in the 21st century? Most patents for human-based networks, human tracking, human body communication, or surveillance technology have one thing in common. They all mention an apparatus referred to as a wearable device, or wearable device or sensor, without ever going into detail on what that wearable device actually consists of. Most people would think of a bracelet, as many people allude to. Someone may think of a wristwatch or something similar, and these people would be very cute and very 20th century for thinking this way. In reality, wearable device has nothing to do with anything even close to that stuff. In this world of shady legal definitions, it has become blatantly obvious that individuals and corporations are intentionally using vague terminology to avoid disclosing information that may scare people or warn them of intent. So in the spirit of getting back into reality, let's throw the ideas of space-age wristwatches, bracelets, necklaces, and any other naive, ignorance-based fantasy in the garbage where it belongs. In the 21st century, a wearable device is anything that resides on or in the body. And what these patents and other documents fail to talk about is where we are actually standing in the realm of wearable devices. Once a modern wearable device is on the body, on the skin, or within the body, it is completely invisible in most cases. Although most of this technology is a decade old or older, here is a short list of wearable devices that can interact with radio frequency, electricity, and send or receive data. Neural lace. Championed by Elon Musk, neural lace is made of a secretive layer that will grow, or as they claim, assemble on the brain. The words are actually interchangeable, which will then begin to interact with radio waves, allowing virtual telepathy, the monitoring of subvocal speech, and more, similar to Mark Zuckerberg's obsession with artificial telepathy. They are secretive about what it is made of, but claim it can be broken down and passed out through the urine by taking something that they refuse to speak about. This technology is always brought in under the guise of helping kids, mental health, or helping the medical industry, and that is exactly what they have been doing. Pay attention and you will see it. Nokia's interactive tattooing, which can vibrate your skin when a notification is received. Most of this stuff is over 10 years old and has made serious leaps since then, or since anyone has talked about it. In reality, it can do much more than just vibrate your skin. Fungus. This isn't even hidden anymore. It's going mainstream. Research will show you that fungus can allow whatever it has embedded itself in to become piezoelectric or piezoelectric, depending on who you're talking to, which means it can interact and transfer electricity, data, sound, or a myriad of other things. In this article, fungus is shown to make wood sensitive to frequencies, which is a great cover article as anything infected with fungus would become sensitive, including the human body. This is a subject I've been speaking about online for about a decade, and that is a wearable device. Smart dust and nano. This subject has been made to appear space age to the average person, but it is actively being used in just about everything. Once this stuff is in the body, you are technically wearing something that can interact with whatever frequency it has been designed to interact with. Shionella. Shionella happens to be the most easily programmed bacteria in the world. It is hackable to basically do whatever the programmer desires it to do, and most people are completely unaware of this. With a little research, it is easy to find that pop science and university science is light years behind what deep-funded research is capable of. However, pop science has been talking about this for years.
All living things need energy to survive, and when you break it down, all of that energy comes from electrons. But most of us can't just lick a battery for energy and call it a day. But in the wild west of the bacteria world, they're creating living wires. And not only is that just plain cool, it might also help us grow wires to use in everything from cell phones to medical implants. Here's where our living wires come in. Cable bacteria can be made up to 10,000 cells, each about a micron across, and they connect to each other to form dense networks in the places they call home. Each cable connects two separate halves of a redox reaction. The cables have extremely high conductivity, and they rival state-of-the-art polymers that we've developed for things like foldable cell phones and solar panels.
Both fungus and bacteria like Shionella can do the same things. Become electrically sensitive, transfer data through predetermined frequencies, send messages, and basically operate like an antenna. They turn whatever it has infected into a transceiver, meaning sending and receiving data. These are just a few examples of what can be put in aerosols, consumer products, or introduced to you in various different ways, or your surroundings, to create a network or a network of wearable devices, quote unquote. Once a person becomes aware that this is our current reality, things begin to look a little different than our 20th century view of what a wearable device is. Knowing this also begins to make you view conditions and ailments that didn't exist before in a completely different manner. An explosion of cases in what came to be called Morgellons appeared around 1999 and have steadily risen over the years. One of the many symptoms of this condition can be visible open sores, which always have fibers or wires present. While the medical community attempted to run cover for this, their figureheads came out of the woodwork to claim they were simply fibers from clothing and claimed the people that were suffering from it were delusional. This has been proven over and over to not be the case, but whether the person has sores or not, the presence of fibers and a biofilm on top of the skin is almost always the case, appearing as dry skin, dandruff, or some other skin condition unless viewed under closer inspection. That is when the reality of it becomes very apparent. It's a strange coincidence that once science groups really began experimenting with Shigella and bacteria, a strange condition hits the Western world that bears the exact traits that science talks about. What are the odds that these strange things start to happen to people when they haven't happened at any other time in history? What are the odds that science happens to be researching bacterial and fungal wires? The facts are that what sounds like a mental illness to the average person could be something as simple as a deviceless phone call test, or what Mark Zuckerberg himself refers to as artificial telepathy. After all, what are the odds that motiveless shooters all heard the same thing? And what are the odds that these all took place during the experimentation and advancements of this technology? This is exactly what all these individuals and companies are talking about: two-way, radio frequency-based artificial telepathy. And that is exactly what they are calling it. Testing something on the population isn't new. The US government has tested bacteria and viruses on various cities in the US many, many times. And although the average person may not be aware of this, it is well documented. The idea that organizations aren't still doing this is absurd, and the idea that they wouldn't need to test and or monitor people in large numbers for experimental or network purposes is even more absurd. This type of testing has gone to private organizations now to avoid any Freedom of Information Act requests. A wearable device does not mean what it did to your grandparents or your parents, or even you. The vague term wearable device has a plethora of legal meanings and interpretations, as does smart device, like smart dust, but that's another video. I'm imploring everyone who sees this to get their heads out of the common ideas of the 20th century and begin paying attention to the vague terminology and the very real science that is being used present day. I've been speaking about this for years, but it's time that the average person understands what is going on right in front of them. If you are aware of it, your perspective of the world can help others, and it can lend understanding to a world where very little makes sense to people anymore.
So that's what's up with wearable devices and where it's going. You fell for the RFK op. Totally fell for it. You know, he was going to come in and clean everything up, and now he wants you tagged and tracked. People need to realize where this is all heading. It's a bunch of different roads, right? And they all end up to the same street. The same dead-end street. And I'll talk to you later.
Look out for Charlie.